Hello everybody, today we are going to do our number 3 pollution. Biological pollution is going to be our main idea today. So at the top of your poster board, which we all have here, our big piece of paper here at school, and we are writing biological pollution as our main idea. So biological pollution. So this is our main idea, biological pollution. Can you write that at the top of your paper? Right, biological pollution. All right, I'm going to start reading. Aquatic culture or water farming is the fastest growing type of agriculture in the world. These farms produce fish, shrimp, and shellfish. 1/3 of all seafood people eat is raised on farms. Farmers raise freshwater fish in wetlands or tanks. Saltwater farming happens inside cages that separate the farm from the rest of the ocean. These fish are being raised in tanks. This fish farm in the Black Sea has high walls to prevent fish from jumping out. So you can see these high walls here. See the high walls?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some farmers raise species that do not normally live in the water near the farm. They bring these animals to their farms from other places in the world. But farm fish sometimes escape into the wild. Escaped fish are called alien species because these are entering a new habitat. In the wild, they are a type of biological pollution. So we are going to draw a fish, okay? I'm going to get my green out, and I'm going to draw a fish. Whoa. There's my fish. And I'm going to do a little arrow. And he is going to be, it says, they bring these animals to their farms from other places in the world. But farm fish sometimes escape into the wild. So I'm going to draw a fish escaping to the wild. So it says it's in a new habitat. So the fish is not going to be from this new area. It's taken from somewhere else and brought to a new area, and sometimes they escape. So I'm going to write new habitat. This is one type of biological pollution. A fish escaping from its habitat into a new habitat is a biological pollution. Something else that I'm going to add onto my fish is some like alien head. So, because it says here that escaped fish are called alien species. So when they escape, they're called alien species. So when they're in this new habitat in the wild, give them like, they're gonna look, they're called alien. Alien fish is what they're called.
Are baby fish escape bigger?
if throughout I'm going too fast, just go ahead and pause the video and you all can take notes as I take notes, okay? Next, I'm going to read why is biological pollution a problem. Some alien species are very good at hunting. They eat a lot of small prey. This reduces the amount of food available to wild fish. Alien species may eat wild fish too. Both types of hunting can cause wild species to die out. So, these fish that escape, these alien fish that escape, are now out in the wild. They're not in these little homes anymore. They're not in the high walls. They are not in these tanks. They are now out in the wild. So they are free to eat whatever they want in the wild. So here it says that this is an escaped North American rainbow trout caused by wild fish in Africa, Australia, and South America to die out.
Die out?
Yep, so this was an alien fish that escaped. Some farm fish also carry diseases causing germs. These germs are often harmless to the alien species, but they can kill the wild fish. Top countries for aquatic culture production. So China is our biggest one. Our smallest one is 3%, is Bangladesh. What can we do about biological pollution? Okay, so here are our solutions. So, I'm going to write solutions. So, how can we prevent this from happening? Okay, so everyone's going to write the word solution. Solution. So, what's going to be our solution? How are we going to help this from not happening? Good job. Solution. It says scientists do not always know how biological pollution will affect wild animals or habitats. Because of this, strict rules control whether farmers can raise alien species. Farmers also try to keep their fish germ free. One way is to raise fewer fish on a farm. Okay, so instead of getting all of these fish and putting them into these tanks or the high walls in the river or the water, instead of getting so many, they can just get less of them. Like, think of if we had a ton of people in this room. Do you think you kind of would want to get out of this room if there were so many people in here?
Yeah.
Like, it's overcrowded. There's too much. So, one way is to have smaller fish farms. So, smaller, everyone's writing? Smaller fish, and if you don't want to write fish, you can draw a picture of your fish. Smaller fish farms. And we're not talking about the farms like with fields. We know that fish are aquatic. Aquatic is aqua, like water. So when we talk about these farms, we're talking about this farm here and this farm here where they're at in their tanks. So instead of having tons of fish, we can just have a smaller amount. If fish have more space, they have a less chance of carrying germs. So that's another important thing. If there's so many people in here, do you think that we're more likely to get sick because there's so much more people? So when there's less people, we have a better chance of not getting sick. So it says with less fish, there will be less germs. So smaller fish farms, if you want to put a little equal sign, equal less Germs. When germ-free fish escape the farm, they will not spread diseases to wild fish living nearby. Some farmers reduce pollution by raising several species at once. For example, fish produce waste, but mussels use this waste for food. All right, so this finishes up our notes for biological pollution. And I'm just going to go ahead and finish reading our book, okay? Everybody have biological pollution? Their notes are finished up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can go ahead and cap your marker. I'm going to finish reading our book. Things you can do. To reduce agriculture pollution, many farmers are returning to older methods of producing food. They raise fewer animals in more space. They rotate their crops between harvests. They fertilize with natural animal or fish waste instead of chemical fertilizers.
Okay.
They fertilize with natural animal or fish waste instead of chemical fertilizers. So they're using less chemicals and they're using more natural resources. Here we have free-range chickens have much more space than chickens in cages. What other methods are farmers using to reduce agricultural pollution? So agricultural pollution, we talked about them putting the fertilizer into the ground. We also talked about farmers checking the weather before they spray their fertilizer. Farmers also find natural ways to kill pests. For instance, they add ladybugs to their field. The ladybugs eat the insects that eat the crops. These farmers hope to produce food in a way that does not harm our environment. This is called sustainable agriculture. Ladybugs and other insects that kill pests are known as beneficial insects. Beneficial is something good, like you benefit from it. So the ladybugs are eating these other bugs or pests. So those bugs are being eaten by the ladybugs so they don't ruin the crops. You can support these farmers by eating food labels organic. Have you all seen organic ever in the grocery store or gas station? Organic. That is raised by farmers. So organic is raised by farmers. It's natural. Or natural. It's not made by human. Or it's not like, it doesn't have chemicals and stuff in it. You can also look for labels free range. So free range means that those chickens right here. So here's free range. Free range means you're free to run around and do whatever you want. They're not caged up. So free range, sometimes people put like egg for sale, like egg signs on their road if they have eggs to sell because they have chickens. And they'll put free range, meaning the chickens aren't cooped up in a cage. They're free to run around. So that's another benefit in order to support the farmers. Look for these foods in supermarkets or at your local market. Foods with organic labels have to meet strict guidelines set by the government. So you will see this organic sign on something, okay? Organic foods often cost more than non-organic foods. So organic foods do cost more. They're going to cost more money. Yes. If you cannot eat them every day, you can still help reduce agricultural pollution. Try growing food plants at home or in a community garden. This removes pesticides on their skin, and always wash your fruits and vegetables before eating them. So here's a family that grew their own food. Growing your own food is much cheaper than buying at the grocery store. You're organic. Does anybody have a garden that they plant at home? Do you have a vegetable garden?
I'm about to.
You're about to start a garden? What do you have?
This summer.
But we didn't plant anything yet.
Not yet? What do you
This-
normally plant? Hold on.
Like vegetables.
Vegetables? What kind? Do you like cucumbers?
Yeah.
Tomatoes? Lots of people grow tomatoes. Anything else? So it's important, like when you go to the grocery store, instead of getting like your vegetables or your eggs that we talked about, or corn, a lot of times around summer, people have farm stands, and we want to support our farmers. So it's important to go to those farm stands to buy your tomatoes or your watermelon or your corn, instead of going to the grocery store, because we know that those are organic and they come straight from the farmers. Eating locally grown food also reduces pollution. So we just talked about that. In the summer, there's farm stands, and it's important to support our farmers instead of going to the grocery store and buying all that organic food there. So eat locally grown food. To get from farm to plate, people travel in trucks that burn fossil fuels. Local food travelers have a shorter distance to travel, so the food is not grown from far away. Trucks that drive short distances use less fossil fuel. Here's a farmer's market. Farmers markets are great ways to find local food. If your school has a lunch program, find out where the food comes from. In some places, local farmers sell these fresh fruits and veggies to schools. This gives kids more healthy lunches. Finally, call or write to your government officials. Ask them to pass laws that reduce agricultural pollution. Ask them to create programs that support sustainable agriculture. Talk to your friends and neighbors about agriculture pollution. Has anybody gone home and talked to their parents about what we've been learning about from air pollution, water pollution? Now today we learned about our biological pollution.
My parents will do that.
Okay, so it's important to talk about those things.
Before I make a garden, I need to get some cows to get some cow crap because it needs some crops.
Instead of buying fertilizer. Good. You can help make good choices that better the environment when you talk about these things. Remember, what happens on farms affects more than farmers. It affects our environment. It also affects the safety of the foods we eat. If we work together, we can reduce agricultural pollution. All right. That sums up our book. So we should be done taking notes. This was our number 3. So let me put number 3 up here. So we had water pollution, air pollution, and biological pollution and ways that we can help reduce our agricultural pollution. This was a 5th grade reading level, and I will post on YouTube the AR number for you all to take the AR test, the STAR test. All right. So make sure you send me in your notes, and I will count those for your credit for reading. Bye. Have a great day.